Welcome to the CAD Office Training Guide series for FDOTConnect. I am Todd Holt, CAD Applications Training Coordinator. Today I will be going through the Roadway Design Existing Modeling Guide. In this series of videos, I will take you step by step through each exercise from the guide. Today we will start with Chapter 1, Part 2 of the guide, Existing Features. This guide will go over the fundamentals of creating a 3D model for existing features, to include hard surfaces, examples: asphalt, concrete, sidewalks, and curbs, utilities, drainage structures, and soil boring. Participants will be introduced to the Bentley Open Roads Designer Connect Edition, Open Roads technology tools for design and modeling, specifically for FDOT projects using the FDOTConnect workspace. Let's begin. Topics covered continue. Today we'll create existing traffic separator terrains, apply surface templates, edit the existing feature depth, add curbs to the existing features, and view the existing features in a cross-section. If you remember, we had our surfaces for the shoulders and pavement that we've created in those. So we're going to start at exercise 1.6. Starting in exercise 1.6, create existing traffic separator terrains. In the previous exercise, the existing pavement terrain area has been created for existing feature US 98 pavement. Now the existing traffic separator can be created. On the reference dialog, turn off the display for the default model. This will make it easier to select the traffic separator shape. So we want to see what level this is on. That is in the model existing. So we'll go to a reference display. We want to turn off that reference so we can see our terrains. We want to go to our level display and turn back on the pavement asphalt EP. So we want to create a shape for our traffic medians. For here, these will be linear templates. So we're going to do our traffic separator, traffic median for this shape, and for this shape. All right. So once we have our level created, we're going to go back from the Home tab to the Train. For the Create Group and Additional Methods, we'll select the Create Clipped Terrain Model. And then, like we did before, we're going to set our feature definition from DTM existing pavement shoulder to the DTM existing traffic separator. We're going to switch the method to clipping, or to external. So switch the clipping method to external. We set our feature definition to DTM existing traffic separator. We're going to give the name of our existing feature traffic separator. The underbar, this will be for US 98. Just let me key it, US 98. This will be -1. So following the prompts, locate our existing ground for the surface to create the train model, the existing ground, and then we'll locate our shape. Once we have our clipping element or our shape selected, we'll right click and then left click at that data point, working through the tool. For one, left click at data point for the vertical, and left click and data point for the method. Now we won't see anything because we have that model turned off. And we can bring that up by the primary group or from the function key F10. So let's turn that back on for our 3D modeling, turn the display back on. And you'll see when we do that, we have another shape that got created. And if I even go and do a right click and view control to set up our views to see the 3D. So I'm going to view controls by right clicking. I'll go to the two views, plane and 3D, and select that. That will set up a View 2 for default 3D. To clean this up, I'll make View 2 active, click on my level display, and again I'll turn off. For my SurvRD, I'm going to turn all levels off except for the DTM EP and DTM EX. So I'll make View 2 active, go to my reference for the SurvRD, right click and turn all off, and then left, and then turn back on the DTM underbar EP and DTM EX, and click OK. So now in my 3D model view, I'll see a surface for my median. Once we have those, we would do that for our surfaces. I'm going to go to exercise 1.7. We're going to apply surface templates. So in this exercise, the surface template will be applied to each of the existing terrains created from the previous exercise. These tools can be found on the Open Roads Modeling Workflow. We'll switch to the Corridor tab. So the Open Roads Modeling Workflow, we'll switch to the Corridors tab, and then the Create Group. We'll select the Template drop-down menu and select Create Template to bring up the ITL dialog to view the FDOT surface templates. So we're going to view the templates first. So we'll go to the Open Roads Modeling Workflow, the Corridors tab, the Create Group, and then the Template Split button. So we'll select that. We want to go to Create Template. That will bring up a specific project-specific ITL. So if we look at this dialog, and more on this in the training guide for comprehensive template design, and you'll also see this in the Roadway Design 3D modeling guide. But each project, when you create a new file, it'll create an ITL with a specific project or workset name in the Roadway folder. So we're going to go and navigate to the root of the ITL. We'll go to the existing feature templates folder. If we expand that out, you'll see that we have templates for curb existing. We have a new template for the curb existing striping. We have our driveway existing, so once we apply these templates, that will give our surfaces depth. And that's our next step that we're going to do when we apply a surface template to a feature or to a terrain. And then we have pavement shoulders and pavement asphalt existing, sidewalk and traffic separator, and a wall barrier for existing. So we're going to apply these feature templates to give depth to our terrains, or the surface template that we've created for our shapes. To do that, I'm going to go back in there before and template, create template. So let me go in and just go back to existing feature templates. I'll go to the pavement asphalt existing. If I double click on it, I'll make it active. And we'll see a preview window and then a preview in the display up here if you're familiar with this dialog. That hasn't changed from SS10, SS4, it's the same dialog. These templates work the same way. So if you're familiar with the SS4, SS10 3D modeling guide, this is the same dialog and same concept. So that will give us a depth, an example of that. So let's close this dialog and we'll switch to the Open Roads Modeling Workflow. We'll go to the Model Detailing tab. And in the Model Detailing tab, we want to go to the 3D Tools group and select on the Surface Templates drop-down. We want to apply Surface Template. This is just one way to do it. So if we click on the Surface Template, that will bring up the Apply Surface Template dialog. So our first step is to pick the template. So we'll click on the ellipses. That'll take us to the ITL. So if we click on the plus, we want to navigate to the existing features template. We'll select the template or the surface template for pavement asphalt existing, and then click OK. We want to set the feature definition to enable linear features, and then what it's going to ask us to do is locate the terrain model. And if I zoom out, we'll do it for the US 98 first. So let me zoom in on view 1 and make that active. So again, we've set the template and we've set the feature definition to enable linear features. The next step is to locate the terrain model. That's one of the shapes. So once we locate it, it's going to work through the tool. We don't want external, but we want to left click and data point, and then left click and data point for template. That's going to apply the template and then data point to accept. So we're all left clicking in space. And if you notice in our 3D view, now we have depth on our surface template that we've just created. So if we zoom in and go to our shoulders, you notice we just have a surface. We don't have depth in the Z direction. But on our asphalt, we have depth. So let's do that again for our existing 61. So I'll zoom in view 1 to the terrain. So let's go back to surface templates, and since we've picked the surface templates from the split button on the 3D tools group, we can just select the icon above that'll relocate the tool. So again, we want the template is going to be pavement asphalt existing. We'll enable linear features. We'll select our terrain and then left click data point, working through the tool to set the template and enable, then left click one more time, and you'll see here that it has the outline of our shape. So we'll left click and data click to accept, and in the 3D view we'll see now for existing 61 we have depth. We'll repeat this procedure for the existing terrain shown in 1.7 below. So we'll do this for our shoulders, we'll do it for any driveways or traffic separators. So let's go ahead and repeat this while we have you on the line, or repeat this for the shoulders and then the traffic separator. So go back to the surface templates. This time I'll pick a different template because I'm going to repeat it for shoulders. So I'll go to the paved shoulder existing, click OK, set the feature definition to enable linear features, and then click on one of my shoulders, data point, left click data point, left click data point. It'll highlight and then data point to accept. So I'm left clicking. That'll give us depth on our shoulders. Let's repeat that. So I'll come up to the 3D tools, click on the surface template. It's already remembering the settings from the last one I picked, so I can just click on my terrains and then left click data point, left click data point for the shoulder, and then one more left data point to accept. And if I zoom in on my shoulder now, those have depth. Let's repeat that one more time for the shoulder. Tool, and then left click data point, and a left click data point to accept the selection. So if I zoom in my 3D, I'll have depth for my shoulder, depth for my existing. And now let's do the traffic separator. Go back to the surface templates. We'll go back and pick a different template. So we want to pick our traffic separator existing. Click OK. Again, we'll do the enable linear features. and select on the terrain or the clip for the traffic separator. Then it's left click data point to accept the template, and a data point to accept the selection. So we left click and data point to select that. So now we have depth on our features. So say we need to go in and adjust. That is going to be exercise 1.8. But before we move on there, so now that we have driveways, let's apply a surface template to those driveways in there too. So let's go back to the model detailing. We'll go to our surface templates. We'll switch the template to driveway existing. Click OK. Again, we'll enable linear features. And if I zoom in on one of these templates, or the terrain models on there, and we can do it from the 3D model also. We can left click a data point, and then it's left click data point, left click data point. Again, you'll see it highlight, and then one more left click data point to accept. And now we have depth on our driveways. So let's do that again on the next one. We'll go back to the surface templates. We'll locate the terrain, left click data point, left click data point, and left click data point to give depth. Left click data point, left click data point, left click data point. So we have pavement, we have a traffic separator, our shoulders, and also driveways. We'll do that for sidewalks if we have any sidewalks on there. To edit surface templates, it's pretty simple. That is exercise 1.8. We will edit the existing featured depth. Surface templates that have been applied are set with a default depth. In many cases, these depths may be acceptable. If not, they will need to be edited. Click F2 to open the view showing both 2D and 3D. So the function keys will also open up two views, or you can do your right click and hold to bring up your view control is another way to do it. So once you're 2D, then we'll select the view 2 to make the 3D active. On the Open Roads Modeling Workflow, switch to Model Detailing tab. We'll go to the 3D Tools. This time we want to edit surface template. So we'll click on that one. And then select Applied Surface Template. So let's go to our existing 61 and select that. That'll bring up this dialog. So here's the template that we have applied. We're going to switch to the Active Template tab of the dialog. Then in our left-hand menu, we want to go to the Parametric Constraints folder. So we'll click on that plus to expand it out. We want to select the pavement thickness. And then from here, we can right-click and edit. So by default, it's set to minus 0.83, which is 10 inches. So if we need to change that, say it's not 10 inches, but it's actually minus a foot or 15 inches, 1.25. So say it's minus 1.25, 15 inches. We would just right click or click OK and accept it. And now that depth went from 10 inches to 15 inches. We'll click OK, that'll apply it. And then in our view, you'll see that it changes. So it's just that easy to apply different thickness to the template. So if we go to our shoulders, we will edit the surface template and then pick the surface template. This can be done in the 3D. We can also come to the Explorer window and go to the Open Roads Modeling tab. It'll show us our surface templates that have applied. We should be able to right click and edit Applied Surface Template. So it will tell us what surface template on there. So that is another way to edit surface templates. From the Explorer, or you can go up to the Modeling tab, the 3D Tools, and the Split button and pick on the Edit Surface Template and then pick it in the 3D. Or you can manage it through the Explorer window. So that takes us to surface templates. We've applied a surface template. We've edited the surface template. Now we're going to add curbs to the existing features. So let's go back to, I'll hit escape to get out of the tool. So in exercise 1.9, add curbs to existing features. In this exercise, a model of the existing curbs will be developed in order to use Civil tools to create the existing curb model. Open roads elements will need to be changed to Civil features. Linear templates will then be applied to the feature elements to generate the depth needed for the curbs. So what this is meaning is we will zoom in, and if we need to, we can clear off or turn off so it's easier to see the triangles. So let's go to the Home tab, Level Display. We'll go to our 3D model. We'll make the view active first. So we have different ones. So I want to go to my 3D model, and I'm going to turn off my triangles. We have our pavement asphalt lines. So we're going to come back to the level display. We're going to go to our MOD/LRD existing features. In this case, it's 02 DGM. We're going to turn on our C&G back level. And we have one here, here, and also over here. So we're going to make our active level the C&G EP. We're going to turn everything else off except for our curb and gutter back, our pavement asphalt EP, and of course the active level because we can't turn that off. So that'll clear it up. So we have a curb and gutter EP and our curb back EP. So we're going to make a selection set of our CG back underbar DP. To do that, we're going to right click and hold. We're going to select all on level by element. And then we'll select the curb and CG back underbar EP. That will create a selection set out of all of these levels. So if we zoom out, you'll see that all these are highlighted. We've created a selection set. We now want to go to the Open Roads Modeling workflow, to the Geometry tab, and then the General Tools group, and the Standards drop-down. So we'll click on that. We want to set feature definition. So we'll click on that one. In the Set Feature Definition dialog, we're going to set the feature type from alignment. We need linear. And then the feature definition, we're going to pick the feature definition. So we're going to Linear Group, Roadway Design, Plan and Profile 2D Lines. We'll go to our Curb folder, and we'll pick Curb Existing. And then the name will be Curb Existing. So we're picking our feature definition of Curb Existing and the name of Curb Existing. So since we've created a selection set of all these, the next point is at that point to apply the feature definitions to 24 selected elements. So in space, in view 1, we're going to left click and data point to accept that we're applying the feature definition to all these lines. So I'll left click and data point. You'll see that they change. So we did that in the open area, nothing selected. Use a right click menu option to select all on level by element. One of the edges, pavement shapes to create a selection set. So we just did that. So we're going to do the same thing for our existing pavement, the pavement asphalt EPs. So we're going to do a right click and select all on by level by element. We're going to select our pavement asphalt underbar EP levels. So if we zoom out, and you'll notice that these have more lines. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to the Geometry tab or the General Tools group, and then Standard, Set Feature Definition. So in this time, our feature type is still going to be linear, but our feature definition, we're going to back out of the curb. We're going to go to Linear Roadway Design, Plan Profile 2D Lines. Instead of the curb, we want to find the Pavement folder, and we need Pavement Existing. It'll change our feature definition, change our name, and this time we've created a selection set that has 72 selected elements. So we're going to left click and data point in space to accept these, or to apply the feature definitions to these 72 selected elements. Once we've done that, we've applied a feature definition to the curb back and also the pavement asphalt EP. So if we hover over any of these elements, we'll notice that they're in there. And if the context menu is changed on these elements here, so let's zoom in. The next step that we'll have to do is complex these together. So this element here. So if we select on that element, we'll know that we have a different context menu. So we have a context menu on any of them. So let's go over to this median here and select. So we'll select it and then hover over, we'll bring up the context menu. We want to open the profile model view. And then we can pick it so it's asking us select or open. Let's open up view 4 and then select and open that. You'll notice we don't have the existing ground, so it's not activated. So let's select and hover over our existing ground terrain, the boundary, and we can set that to active. Now if we come back and select on our curb and gutter back for the profile, open profile in this view, we'll now have an existing ground. In the existing ground, or the profile view for the curb existing, we go ahead and select the profile and set that to active. So we now have an active profile for this curb. So we're going to apply existing curb template. And there's a couple of different ways to do that, or a couple of different templates. So let's zoom into our 3D. So in our 3D view, we'll notice after we set this active, there's a faint construction line with yellow. So that's all we need to run a linear template. To run a linear template, we can come to the Model Detailing tab of the Open Roads Modeling Workflow. So we're in the Open Roads Modeling Workflow, Model Detailing tab, the 3D Tools group, and Apply Linear Template. So let's click on that. That will bring us the Apply Linear Template. We'll go to the template and click on the ellipses. We'll click the plus. This will take us back into our work set specific ITL or project specific ITL. We want to go to Existing Feature Templates. And we'll do the curb existing. I'll show you later to change it to the curb existing striping. So first we'll pick the curb existing. Click OK. In our 2D view, we will select our curb existing or the curb back line that has the profile associated with it. So in order to put a linear template, we need a profile to it. So that was the steps that we did. We changed the feature, and then when you change this feature, we applied a profile hue and set an active profile. So I want to select the element to apply the template to. I'll data point to apply the template, and then it's going to ask us to a start location. So if we hover over this, it's depending on in the direction of how this was created. So it looks like our start is here. So this is 0, 0. I'm going to go a little bit off because sometimes if you go to the end of it, it messes up. So I'm going to go just offset it just a tad bit. Then data point, and then it's going to ask us for the end. So I'm going to zoom out, let it go around. I could do the Alt to lock it to the end, but I don't want to lock it all the way to the end. It's going to look a little bit funny in there. So let me just back off a little bit from the end, and then left click and data point. It'll ask for the reflection or the side. So I want to make sure I'm out. And then left click data point and left click data point. One more time in space and left click data point. Again, it's working through the tool. So in our 3D view, you'll see that we just applied this element here. So that is our linear template. It doesn't really look like a curve, but it would give us depth in a cross section. So the next step to our linear template, this is the curve existing. I'll next go through the curve existing, but in a later exercise. So we have a linear template. We want to add external reference to that. So let's close out of this tool. We will go back or go to the corridors tab. So we want to go to the corridor tab and the miscellaneous group and corridor references. So if we click on that split button, we want to add a corridor reference. The first step is to locate the corridor. In that case, it's our linear template. And then locate the reference. We want to pick the featurized pavement existing line. Locate that. If we have more, we can locate more, which this is the only one that we have. So if I zoom out, it's adding this line as a corridor reference. Then I want to right click to back out and left click, and we'll notice in the 3D view that template dynamically changed and targeted this edge of pavement line. So if we zoom out in there, and I backed off when I first placed this linear template just to get off of it. So let me show you how to accept those. You escape out of this. So you have corridor templates and a template handle. So if I want to adjust the end, I can grab this in manipulators. And if you remember, we changed the manipulator settings to make them easier to read, but I can drag that template handle to where I want it to end, and my template will grow or change around the corner. So there's my ending one, here's my start. So let me click on that and bring that closer, and you'll see that that template applied in there. So let me show you before we move on as a bonus exercise the difference between the two curve existing. So we have a template applied on there. If I want to see a different template, I can click on the template handle and bring up the properties of it. So I have the properties. I can edit template drop from here and resynchronize from the library. If I click on the properties, I can change the template names on the fly by clicking these ellipses. So if I want to try a different template, our first one we did curve existing. So let me look at the curve existing striping. This is a new component that we've made, or a template that we've made for FDOTConnect. and SS4, SS10 that are more, it's a target, or this component is targeting the terrain, so it'll look more like a top of the curb. So click OK. If I apply that, I changed it simply on the fly. And now if I look at this curb and rotate in my 3D view dynamically, you'll notice that now that curb, instead of a hollow going out, it looks like more like a curve, so it's targeting the surface. So that's how you apply a linear template. So we could do that same thing, that same process on these other template lines. So let's go back and do this same thing before we move on to exercise. So let me go ahead and select, or let me go up and set my views up. So let me do a right click and go to view control. I want a plan profile in 3D. So that'll set my views up. It's going to ask me to locate or set up a dynamic profile view. I will select my plan element and then select my view in view 4. So now I have a profile view. My 3D view I'll have to set up, but we don't need that for right now. So let me go ahead and select this existing terrain and set that active. So we have everything that we need for a linear template. Fit view in my 3D and make my view 3 default 3D active, and you bring up my level displays. Turn all off except for my DTM, EX, and EP. Save settings. So now if you look at here, we have a faint construction line PM for a profile. So let's go back and go to model detailing, apply a linear template. And this time I'm going to go and just do the striping. So I'm going to do the curve existing striping and click OK. I'm going to locate the element that I want to apply it to, and then left click data point. And this time I'm going to press on the Alt key to lock it to the start, and then accept, and then Alt key to locate it to the bottom, or to the end, I'm sorry, to the end. And then I'm going to do the reflection option and go to the outside, and left click data point and left click data point to accept that. So now we have a template in there. We need to do the same thing and add external reference for it to target this edge of pavement line. So we'll close out of the tool, go back to the corridors tab, miscellaneous group. I'm going to add a corridor reference. Click on it one more time. So it's asking me to locate the corridor, and we'll locate the reference, and then reset by right clicking. And I'll notice that my curve now targets that. And this is what I was talking about. It may be a little goofy at the end or wonky at the end. And that is a technical term. So I will back off of the start just a tad bit. See if that cleans that up, and that did a little bit better, and then come back to my ends. So I can come and change that around, find my end here. So no, that's just, it's coming around the curve because it doesn't know how to play, or except for that. So I can come in and come back around, or do a Control Z. So that's, again, how we apply templates and then add a corridor feature. So exercise 1.10, we're going to view in the cross section. So the first thing that we need to do in our view 1 is we need to attach an alignment because we can't see anything. But we need to make sure everything is displayed in our 3D. So we will go to view 1, go back to the Home tab, go to the Attach tools. We're going to attach the ALGNRD 01 file to give us a alignment to track off so we can view cross sections. So let's attach that. We'll give this a logical name of ALGNRD and then click OK. So now we'll see that we have our alignment file with our US 98, our new existing, and our existing 61. So to find the dynamic cross sections, we will go to the Corridors tab. Under Review, there's a Dynamic Cross Sections, and that, again, is a split button. So we could come to the Open Cross Sections view. It's asking us to locate a corridor or an alignment. So we want to select the alignment for the US 98. And then it's asking for a left offset and right offset. So we can come to my dialog here. It's on my other screen. So let me just key in for my left offset, right offset. So I'm going to toggle those. I will do -50 and then tab and 50 station. So I'll key in for my offsets and then my left offset, right offset, and then the station to start. So I'll just start down here so we will see. And then the interval, I'm going to set that to 25 and then left click data point. Now it's asking me to locate or open the view. I'm going to pick my profile view. And it's just that simple to start a cross section. From here, we'll see the surfaces. So here's our driveway, here's our shoulder, and also the existing and our traffic median. We can change the exaggeration. If this is too big, we can change that to 2. And then when we go forward, it'll change that in there. We can also center on the backbone, which is your alignment. We track down and we can right click and locate station via data point. So I can locate the plan view and we can go to a specific station in here and just track through. So it's going to track off the alignment. So that is applying and use the current offsets. So get back to our curve and zoom in. So there's our median that we put in the different corridor. So we can track or walk through our cross sections through these tools, or we can right click and locate station via data point. If we're checking for dimensions, we can do a right click and hold. We can put some temporary dimensions horizontally or vertically. You just click that, that's going to go off the points. I don't know if it works with existing features. It does not look like it does, so we don't have the option for that. If you know a specific station that you want, you can key it in by here. So if we say we wanted 30 even, we'll key it in, it'll take us right to that station 30. So we don't have any on there. So if we would go back to a 24 even, we can do that and tab. That'll take us right to that station. So there's 3 options. You can key it in, walk through, go to the start, go to the end, or we can right click and locate the station via data point. That finishes the Existing Features, Chapter 1 of the Existing Modeling Guide. Thank you for joining me today for the CAD Office series for FDOTConnect. This was Chapter 1, Part 2 from the Roadway Design Existing Modeling Guide, reviewing existing features.